Hello everyone and welcome to Site Nuclei channel. So today we are going to revise everything that we have done until now and do a hands-on project. And that is going to be, you can say, the extension of the personal finance tracker app that we have built for the basic level. So this is going to be an advanced finance tracker app. So without wasting any time, let me just start the coding. So this is basically the function, or you can say the project with the of extension from this you can say finance tracker app. Let me tell you, where is it? Yeah. So as you can see, uh, in the basic level of track, we have actually created a finance tracker app which have these basic CRUD operations for you can say detecting the finance and everything. So we are trying to basically enhance this finance tracker app, or you can say expense tracker app, with the existing concept that we have learned. So without wasting time, let us start. So as you can see, we are going to use file here, basically a JSON file here. And why we are using this JSON file is because we want our data to retain. Basically, what was happening last time is that whenever the app is exited, the data got deleted. So that's why what we are going to do is we are going to basically make it in such a way that even after exiting the program, our data remain you can say as it is, as well as we get our data after. You can see, so for that we have actually created a, you can say, JSON file, expense.json. So why we are using JSON? Actually, JSON file is a is structured as a dictionary containing lists. So this is what a JSON file is. So as you can see, this is going to be our JSON file, and let us start with the coding part. So first function is, of course, if we have a file which is basically storing all our data, so we must have one thing, basically one function that help us load the data that we have stored. So for that, we are going to use the exception handling, as well as our, you can say, file handling and exception handling that we have seen in the last few videos. So we are going to do that. So without any further ado, as you can see, I am just going to load our file, sorry, file name with open and as file. Basically, I am creating a file instance, and what this file instance is going to do, it is just going to pass into this JSON library. Basically, this JSON library is nothing but you can say it is going to help us save and load that JSON for JSON file, and help us basically get retrieve the data. Also, we are going to return the data with us. Now, there might be a case, or rather than that, what we can do is data.get, and in this we are basically trying to get our expenses here. Else, if the expenses, you can say, if the expenses string is not present in our you can say our JSON file, then it is going to return us an empty list. Also, what else we are going to, you can say, extract is the budget. This is the new feature that I am going to integrate into it, and which basically is you can say direct our direct us, okay, what should be the monthly budget for our, you can say, finance tracker, and the default value for that is 0. There might be a case where it will, you can say, there might be a case where we fail to, you can say, load the data or the file. So in that case, we have to add an except block to basically prevent our app from crashing. And in the except block, what we are going to say that file not found error. And in the file not found error, we are going to return an empty list as well as a 0 for the budget. So basically, what we are going to do in this, what we are doing in this load data function is that we are basically creating a try and except block to basically prevent the app from crashing, right? And in the try block, we are putting our main code, basically this function definition, and that is we are basically loading the JSON file, and in the JSON file, we have something called as you can say expenses and budget keys. And if you want, I maybe show you some the structure. Just give me a second. Or maybe what we can do is uh, 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 so with this code, I hope you can see that what could be the structure of this JSON file. So here you can see this is going to be the example structure for our JSON. And to basically correct this structure, let me just refactor it so that you can view it easily. So as you can see, what we are doing is we are creating a JSON, and maybe we can just remove this last one. So here, so here you can see that what I have created is necessarily a JSON file in which first of all we have decided a budget, and then we have stored all the expenses in the expenses key. And basically the expenses key is going to hold a list value, and in the list there are particularly, you can say, different dictionaries which hold values such as category, description, amount, and date. And that basically the date is the date time of the transaction. So this is what our JSON file is going to have. And also, if you want, you can say project description. I have also written that too. So if I have to view, say, I can just simply put that here too for you. So this is what it is going to be. So now let's skip that and focus on our coding part. So we have loaded our data, and I hope after seeing this data, you can get the feel of what is going to happen in the load data. And the next thing that we need to do is basically saving this data. And why I'm saying this, saving this file, of course, we want to, you can say, reflect the changes into our JSON file. So that's why I believe we should save that. And as you can see, this function is going to take two arguments, basically the expenses as well as budget. So without any further wasting of time, let us put our try and accept block. So for now, let us put pass here and accept. Okay, let us also put pass here. Now let's complete our try block by creating the data, and the data is going to be in the format similar to expenses, and the other thing that we are going to pass into it is the budget. So, so with this, we have actually created our data, and the thing that is left with us is to save the file. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to open this file and say, and we are going to enter the append mode file, and we are going to basically do JSON dot dump data, comma, file support is equal to, and basically the data is going to pass into here. This is the file path that we want. And then we are going to pass the indent block is equal to 4. So about these parameters, as you can see, the data is of course what we have created, and the file is also the one thing that we have opened here. But what this indent block is do is it basically creates a, you can say, the structure looking like this. Basically, it is going to help us arrange our data in the, you can say, visual appealing format. Yeah. So in the accept block, maybe the accept block is not needed, but we can say, what should we say? What should we do? Or maybe there is no such need for this, you can say, saving of data. We can just simply remove the try and accept block, because there is no, you can say, any kind of dedicated error that I can think of we use here. That's why. So we have actually created our file handling functions, basically to load the data and to save the data. And now let's come on to our core features, and that are adding the expenses, and basically viewing the expense, and basically all the you can say add and view and delete options. And of course, we are going to start with the add expenses. And as you can see, this function also takes two arguments, expense and budget. So in this function, what we are going to do is we are going to say a category. Basically, we are trying to, what we are trying to do here is that we are trying to replicate the structure of the expenses, you can say, list here. which contain a dictionary, category, description, amount, and date. So for that, what we are going to do is we are just going to put our input function here, and in the input function, what we are going to say is enter your category, and then after category we go to the description, and the description is also going to be like input function, and we are going to say enter your enter expense description. So what this will do is it will basically help us. Okay, if the you can say if the expense type is food and beverages, then please explain. Okay, what type of where do you expense? Where do you can say where you have wasted your money or not wasted? Where you have spent your money? So this is what it is for. Another other thing that we can do here is that we can put a try and accept block around we can say amount, or maybe first let us take the input for the amount float input, we can say enter amount of, or simply amount, enter amount. And why I'm saying that I'm going to put a try and accept block around here is that because it is an unsafe method. Let's say user accidentally or you can say intentionally type an empty value here. So this kind of thing is not something that we should entertain, or even say the float value is not going to operate on the you can signal value. So for that, what we are going to say, we are going to say value error, because it is going to basically say, okay, you have written the wrong input here, right? So rather than returning it, we can say print invalid amount, valid amount. So with this, basically what we are going to say is we are going to prompt the user, okay, you have entered the invalid amount, and what we are going to do is we are going to return expensive and budget. This comma, and the next thing that we have to do is we have taken the category, we have taken the description, we have taken the amount. Now one thing left us is that we create an expense dictionary. Expense. Now this dictionary is going to have something like category, and category will have value that we have taken as an input. Then we go to the description, and the description also going to have the value description. Now amount, and now amount is also going to have the amount value. Now here comes the one thing that you must have seen in my dictionary, that we are also storing the date time for the dictionary. So for that, we are going to use our date time library. In this, we are going to say, okay, use now function. Basically, now what now return is, this now function is going to return the current date and time, or you can say current time of entry that we are initiating. And, uh, and the other thing that I am going to say, uh, you can say string f time, basically string forward time. Or you can say that it is a you can say it is a method that is used to format the time, or you can say the date time that you want to enter into our data. So for that, I have actually created already that the entry is going to be in the format. As you can see here, first of all, it is going to be year, then it is going to be month, then it is going to be the day, then of course it is going to be the time. So that is what I have actually written here. And now the other thing that left us is expenses dot append expense. So what this will do is it basically, as you have known, that append basically expenses is the you can say that list, and we are going to append the of expense into the expenses dictionary. And at last, what we are going to say is we are going to say, okay, save this data, and in the data pass the expenses and budget. Now, after adding this, we can say the saving this data, we are going to say what should we do? Expense edit, expense edit, and in this we are going to return expense, comma, budget. Now, let me tell you in a you can say short format what we have done in this function. So in this function, first of all, this function is going to take two parameters, which are existing expenses as well as the budget. Now, in the existing expenses and the budget, we have further you can say classification. So basically, budget is the you can say constant value that we have set for any you can say time frame. And about the expenses is the list that takes different dictionaries, and the dictionary is going to have some you can say category as well as description and amount, and also it is going to have some data or sorry date in it. And at last we are going to save that dictionary into our you can say list, and the whole list is going to be saved into the file. And you can say at last we are going to print a message that expense added, and we are going to return the expenses and the budget, basically updated expenses and the budget. So with this we have actually created our function add expense. Now it's time to work on our view expenses. Now, this view expenses is only going to take one parameter, and that is expenses, because we are trying to say, okay, I want to see what are the spendings. I don't want to see what are the budget or the you can say month or anything else. Now, for that, what we are going to first of all we are going to check if expenses, or if you can say if not expenses. What is it is going to say? It is going to see whether our expenses is empty or not. We are going to print no expenses to view, no expenses found. Okay, I think that should do, and return us nothing. So this is what you can say an initial check, because if we have not if we are not adding this kind of thing here, and it is going to throw some error if there is some operation that we are going to see here. Let's say if I want to print this expenses here, what I am going to do is I am going to put a new line here, and then says expenses, and alt E here. Basically, we have created a header type of thing, and we are going to say print. Now we are going to use the formatted string that we have used in the previous VS project. I will explain that to you, but for now, just think that I'm putting it here. So what it is going to say is, okay, index should be, you can say, spaced for the 6 character. Category should have 15 characters of length, amount 10, and date is 20, and the description is at the end. So it can be, you can say, any longer, any length, you can say. So this is what I have created. Now it's time to basically check our print statement. This print is doing nothing but just putting, you can say, dash line at the end. Now it's time to add the, you can say, expenses. Now for that, what we have with us, we are basically using for loop to print the structure of, you can say, these expenses into the, you can say, compiler. Now for the, you can say, for printing this into the compiler, we are using the same things as above, but this time we are actually putting the values here below the each, you can say, section, or you can say below the each header. So we are essentially creating a structured data to basically ease the, you can say, viewing part, you can say, visibility of this, you can say, result. So for that, we have actually created this kind of thing. So we after we have actually created this view function, and this view expenses is doing what? If we don't have any kind of expenses, it is going to say, okay, we don't have expenses, so no expenses found is going to be returned. As you can see, initially our expense JSON is empty. So if, let's say, if I you can say, trigger this app right now, it is going to view the console, and in the console, if we would try to basically view the expenses, it is going to say there are no expenses found. So that's all. Now the next thing that we need to do is the deletion of the expenses. Now the deletion, why I'm taking this, okay, if there is some kind of things like the wrong entry or anything else, so for that we must be able to remove that wrong entry, and we are going to basically say, okay, this is the wrong entry, I want to delete it. So for that, we are creating this delete expense function, and in the similar function as in the previous function, we are basically creating a simple check, and in the simple check, we are basically trying to see whether we have expenses present or not. And of course, if we don't have anything to delete, we should say, okay, there is no expenses to delete, or yeah, there is no expenses found, or maybe rather than no expenses found, we should type something like no expenses to delete. So that is something that we must do actually, and after maybe a deletion, we can do is we can return expenses as well as the budget to see that, okay, whether the expenses have been deleted or not. Yeah, that should be do. Now after, you can say, check, what we need to do is we need to, okay, before you can say deleting the expense, we must view every expenses that we have in our data. So we are going to, of course, pass the expense here, and it will return us, you can say, the expense that we want, and we are going to take the input for the index that we want to delete. Now we have used, you can say, input function, and typecast it to the integer value to the index, and we are going to say the prompt delete. Now this is what it is going to do, and then we are going to check, okay, if index is less than 0, or index is greater than or equal to length of expenses, then do what? Then say invalid index, print invalid invalid index value, and return us with nothing, or maybe the same thing as expenses and budget. Now we have actually returned the expenses budget. So the last thing that we are left with is to basically put you can say check here around this input, so that there will not be any crash in our app. Now for that we have actually one thing, and that is try and accept block. We are going to try this code, and if this code fails, we are going to say yeah, we should say value error, and we are going to print something like what should we print here actually? Okay, we should print invalid input actually, invalid input, and return expenses comma budget. And after putting like something like a try and accept block, we have actually make this function more robust. And the other thing that left with us is to put and a pop function is dot pop. Why I am using this pop function? Why I am using this pop function is just to remove the we can say index at which we want to remove the value. Now the thing that left with us is to create this you can say function, or maybe just put the index into this pop index. Now the last thing that we need to do is we need to save the data, and after we can say saving the data, we can print a message such that expense deleted successfully, and at last return something like expenses to budget. So with this function, we have actually created our delete expense function. Now this delete expense function will actually delete the entry that we have actually present, or you can say we have already present in our data. So the next thing that we need to do is to implement this, you can say show summary, and then we are going to implement the search and filter. And the next thing that we need to do is the you can say setting of budget. So with that, we are actually halfway in our function. As you can see, we have actually created the file handling and the core features. Now it's just the summary part. So maybe the summary part we can do is we can just simply put something like we can just put copy and pasting here. Yeah, we can just copy and paste everything here. Maybe because it is going to be redundant and time taking. So let's start with the check that whether we have expenses or not. Of course, if not expenses, we are going to return nothing. Then we are going to return the total expense amount that we have basically spent, and we are going to print that okay, total spending is rupees total. And then of course we are going to also say okay, there is a category wise breakdown that is going to be happening, And the category wise breakdown is going to be in a dictionary format. The dictionary is like category total, and we are going to use a simple for loop, and we are going to iterate through every expense, and we are going to extract the category, and we are going to basically say, okay, in the category total, we are going to make a key of category, and then we are going to get the total amount for the particular category, and that's all. And the other things that we need to do, basically, what this is happening here is that it is basically getting the category. It is basically getting the category amount here, and increase it by the, you can say, the new amount that is, or you can say the already present amount in our dictionary or data. Then what we doing is we are basically looping through all the items that are present in our category total, and then we are just going to print that category wise total spend. And also we are going to we are going to print the budget, as well as we are going to check whether the budget exceeded the exceeded the certain amount or not, and also the remaining, you can say, amount we have. So this kind of thing is what we are implementing in our, what we have implemented in our summary, store summary. Now there are you can say, most, you can say, useful function, and that is searching, you can say, expenses by the category. Now for that function, we are actually passing the expenses into it, and in that we are first, let's create a variable cat, basically the category, and what we are going to say is, okay, please write the category here, and enter the category to search the category to search, and after category we are going to basically set a flag. First it is to false. Why I'm putting a flag here, you are going to see it in the following code. So we are going to use a for loop expenses, and in the expenses we are going to say, okay, if expenses, and in this we are going to say category is equal to category, or maybe what we can do is we can just simply put a lower 2 here, so that it is easier to match the things and is robust. So we have entered the category. Now let's print the expense here, and set the flag to true. So what it is going to do is, it is basically going to change the flag that, okay, we have found the category, and we have actually extracted the expense from that. Now there might be some case where the category will not be found, and in that case we are going to say no matching record found. So this is what we are going to say, and with that we have actually completed our search by category function. And the, you can say, the next thing is that we need to do is filter by recent function, filter by recent expenses. So it will basically, you can say, give you the recent expenses that has been done. And for that, first try to, first let's you can say, define the days variable, or you can say we are going to take the input from the user for the days, and in the input what we are going to ask is enter the number of days. Basically, it is the you can say the days window that we want to get, and after taking the days, what we are going to say, and we are going to basically save the today's you can say we are going to save the today date. Also, whenever we are using such kind of typecasting in the input function, we should put a try and except block around it because that help us you can say keep our function you can say robust as well as it is also going to help us keep the function running and return nothing. Now, as we have created a new, you can say not new, but current datetime function, we are going to say, okay, print, and what should we print is, we should print something like this new line, expenses from last days, and in the days, of course, we are going to print this line to a new line. So basically, let's print everything to the new line the next time. So we have actually printed this to the new line. So the next thing is again creating a flag found here and again put it to the false. Now let's iterate through the expenses that we have. Splitting expenses if expenses date is date, or rather than you can say putting it directly into this if statement, let's first create a variable expense date. So because we want to you can say use it again and again, so it's better to use it in the experience we are going to put the same string that we have created in this save data function. And where is it, man? Oh, sorry, in the add function actually. Basically, what we are doing is we are mapping the date to the you can say applied format in our data, and then we are going to say, okay, if now minus expense date is less than or equal to days. Now, there might be some chances that it will throw, or you can say it will behave some randomly. So for that, we must get the days from this function, or you can say this subtraction, and then put the condition for that. Now, this condition actually checks the window, basically the time window that we have done. And if it is true, it is going to print all the expenses here and set the found to true. No, sorry, typo. And after putting this found function true here, we are going to say if found or maybe if not found, print. I forgot to put a note here. So if not found, what we are going to say? We are going to say no expenses found, and that's all. So with that, we have actually also created a function that is going to take the expenses and date from the user, sorry, expenses from the data and the days from the user, and then checks the window that whether any expense falls into that window and give us the value for that. Now, the last thing that we need to do is to implement a function that sets the budget. Now, for that, first we are going to put a try block, and in the try block, we are going to basically taking the input for budget, and it is going to be a floating point number. Enter new budget, and in that we are going to do is save data, and in that we are going to pass the expenses as well as budget, then say budget set, and at last we are going to put an accept block. In the accept we should say value error, and print something like invalid amount, and return the expenses and budget. So this is what we have actually created. So now the last thing that we are doing is creating a main function which initializes everything. And first of all, we are going to basically expense, or you can say, if I have to tell you the file structure. So as you can see, the file structure in the similar way that we have created above. Now we are going to basically print a menu system, then ask for the user choice, then put an, you can say, more if and else block to basically run this app, and we are also using the while loop. So basically continue the execution for n loops until we put the choice to exit the function, basically the option 8. Let's execute this program and see. Okay, the first thing that we got is the error, and it says valid invalid mode. Oh, oh, sorry. Rather than open here, we should put read here. Yeah. So okay, it's run. Now, first of all, let's view the expenses. It says no expense found, which is to be expected, and it is working good. Now, let also check whether this delete function, or you can say other thing, is working. So, of course, if I want to put the delete function here, no expenses to delete. Now, the other thing is, so show summary, no expense recorded, search by category. category, let's say any random number, no matching record found, and then filter by recent days, asking the number of days, let's say 12 or 12, and no record found. Now the next thing that we need to do is a filter recent days or set budget, and let's put the monthly budget to 10,000. Budget set. Now we want to view the expenses, no expense form, but the budget is set. That's the good part. Now the what else we can do is let's start by adding our expense. Oh, sorry, invalid number. So let's add an expense. Enter the category. Let's say rent, and the expense description is that you can say monthly rent for house, and the amount is for now. Let's put the amount to 5,000 and the expense added. Now, if I want to view the expense, it will show me, and that's the good thing that we got here. But maybe you can put a new line character after the expense and increase this user dash line. So for that's the other thing. Now let's show the summary. Now after selecting the summary, as you can see, we got the total spending. We also got the category wise breakdown. We also get the budget that we have set and also the remaining amount that we have with us. Now let us increase the budget further. So for now, let's set the budget to 50,000 or something. And let's add an expense here. And what expense should we set? Other than rent, maybe like gym. And in the gym, we can say monthly gym subscription, and the amount is let's say 1,200 or so. Now let's again do the expenses. We go to the expenses for the rent and gym. That's sent for the summary. Okay, the budget is updated actually, and our even say category wise breakdown is also working. Now, what if I add an expense again? And in the expense, let us add the gym or maybe food, and in the food, entering the expense, you can say eating outside. Let's say for that. Now, at last, I want to. At last, let's see the summary directly. And we got the summary, we got the values, everything is just working fine. We got the remaining balance and as well as the other thing. Now let's exit this program. Let's see whether our JSON is updated or not. So our program is updated. Let's look into the JSON. Okay, the save data is not working, I believe. It's exiting. Where is the save data, by the way? Maybe we need to refresh that. Still not. So maybe save data. Oh, we have actually written the append mode. Maybe we should write the write mode here. It says an error. Extra data, line 4, column 2, line 4. Okay. Load data is giving us some error, and in the load data, why the load data is giving us some error? Here is read file and here is write file. Or maybe it's my terminal fault. Sorry. To find why the let's kill the terminal. Oh, sorry, we have to run this file. Okay, we got the error. And why is that? It was working just fine the last thing. So maybe what we can do is first of all let us delete this file again. Yeah, maybe we can do that. Let's delete this file and create a new one. And after creating a new one, let us retry everything. It's still showing us an error. That maybe what we can do is let's check our code because it was working the last time we have seen that. Okay, let's do one thing and create a pseudo structure here. Maybe this time it will work. Still not working. let's rename this file finance expenses, and let's rename the file here too, and let's try to rename this. Okay, this time it's activate, and that was the file issue that we have stumbled upon. So at least it was not here. Now let's exit this program again, clear the terminal. Let's start fresh. So first of all, let's add expenses. Category, let's say food. Description is going to be like eating outside. Outside. Amount is going to be 24,000. Also, let's set its budget. Budget should be 25,000. And let's view the summary. We got the summary breakdown. Good, that is. Now let's add some more expenses like rent, and the rent description monthly, house rent, and amount should be something like, okay, let's again add a rent, and this time we are again going to say rent, but this time we are going to say monthly bike rental services, or maybe monthly bike rent. Amount should be something like this. Now let's see the summary. What should we get? We get the total spending of 9,000, and that is correct. Category wise breakdown: rent of 7,000, and food is having 2,000, and that is good. Now when we do subtract the 9,000 from the budget, we get left with the 16,000. So that's a good part. Now if I want to view the budget, everything, view expenses, we get to view the expenses, and this is looking good, of course, and also filter by recent days. Let's use that. Let's first of all, let's search by category. We are going to say rent. It will return us the rent, and let's filter by recent days, and let's see the recent days should be, for now, let's put one here. We got an error, and that's a good part. But date object doesn't apply to a string object. Okay, we got an error, but this time it is in our filter recent, I think. Yeah, it was filter recent. Yeah, it was filter recent. And we got an error saying, okay, string strf time should not be applied to a string function. And basically what it is saying is we should have convert this string date into the date first, and then do everything else. What is happening? First let us see the description. Okay, it is string actually. So let's convert it into some date and time, and let us see what we have here. Date time dot date time m dot the time study. Let us try that function. Maybe it will give us result. let's say C, and well, it's still showing us some errors. What should we do for now? Okay, this should be working, but it is not. So the one thing that we can do is we can just first of all remove this function from here, save it first, and then mm, this should not be happening right now, by the way. Let's set the 6, then 1. It still shows the error. Why is that? We should not be the error. Or maybe rather than strf time, we can use strp time. Let's use the 6 here again. Okay, it's working. And we got the expenses that we have in our file. But the JSON is not getting updated, by the way. We don't know why. But we get the all the recent transaction that is happening in the last one day. And that's all. Now let's exit this program, clear the terminal again, and see whether we got our JSON updated. And it's not getting refresh. Why is that, by the way? Okay, the JSON is actually saving in the root of this folder, and maybe we are checking the wrong JSON here. So as you can see, we got the JSON. Last time it was like this. It was that was what the cause of the errors. So let's delete this JSON file. Yeah, move it to the. So with that, we have actually completed this function. Now let us get some entries for our user test, and for that, give me some give me some data or Mm, so I have come with some data. I have pasted that here basically, and let's try to basically see how we can test this function. Now let's run this program. Sorry, let's run this program. First of all, let's view all the expenses we got. We got all the expenses for you can say April 1 to 5. We also got expenses of description. We also got some categories. We got all the expenses by the way. Then let's say I want to see the summary. We go to the summary and now let's filter by recent search by category, or let's just filter by date. And I want to see okay 3 days. It shows every entry that has been you can say done in the last 3 days. Basically, we get all the entries for the date. You can see three here is present, two here is present, but there is no 1 day. So okay, it is working. Now let's check our delete function, which we have kept for the few quite some time. And what entry we should delete first? Let's just delete this utilities. We got deleted. Let's view the expenses. Maybe because the seventh index should not be appearing. Okay, the utilities is deleted successfully. And I believe the summary should be updated by the way, because the last time we had checked the summary, we got balance 12770. This time it should be increasing. Yeah, it is increased. So with this, we can say we have actually completed on this project, and that is advanced finance tracker with saving of file and everything else. And let's meet in the next video. So until then, have a safe day. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any kind of doubts, you can put that into the comments. So maybe you can discuss that. So on that note, let's meet in our next video.